Edward Kilroy, nobody called him Ed or Eddie and almost no one called him Edward, came home from school and quickly put out his cigarette when he saw his sister in the living room. He had his normal look of contempt on his face. His look, attitude and outlook on the world did not come from the normal teenage loathing of the status quo. He did not believe his generation was going to be the one which changed the world and make all the wrongs right. His contentment came from how much he just detested people. The man who was born with a chip on his shoulder was just so disappointed in people, everyone, and that included himself. He knew that people were meant for and capable of so much more than they were. People contentment in not coming close to their full potential was the main source of his contentment. Killer looked with disgust at his father, Robert Kilroy, who was wasting time as he sat on his lazy-boy throne overseeing his kingdom of nothing. When the bicycle plant closed down and the elder Kilroy lost his design engineer job there, he also lost his drive and confidence. It has been over 3 years since he started his reign over his little empire and the interviews had been less and less. Killer so wanted his dad to quit being in the past and move on to the future. Next, the rebel looked in disappointment at his mom, Rhonda Kilroy, who was slowly working herself to death. She was working overnight and overtime as nurse to try to keep her family out of the red and in the black financially. She also was moonlighting with any odd jobs so could do around the house to try to keep her family out of the red and in the black emotionally. Killer wished she would start to look out for herself once in a while instead of always putting others first. Lastly, the man with a grievance against existence looked upon his sister, Erin, with sorrow. She was 16 and being homeschooled for she was pregnant. She threw away her future for she thought that sleeping with a popular boy would move her up in the social hierarchy at school. That boy denied that they ever slept together after he bragged to his friends about it. Killer craved that she would make sure that boy would become a man and own up to his actions. Erin was the first one of his family to greet the rebel. "Thanks for putting out the smoke, brother. You should had not even have had it lit when you came in." Killer said, "You are right, sister. I was wrong to have thought that maybe you would be looking into making sure that no good boy who helped you bring a new life into this world would take responsibility for it. I should had known better. You are too worried about somehow being accepted more by others than looking out for others." Rhonda pleaded with her children to stop it. She did not want them to fight, she hated the discord which has been in her house for a long time. It was not a perfect home before her husband lost his job, but they were a close, loving family. Now in her head, before the downfall of her family, they lived in a perfect blue building and so wanted to go back that sitcom world. Killer then looked at his mom and asked, "What size dress would fit me?" "I am wearing one to school tomorrow." Robert came out of his vigil over his nothingness and said, "Oh great, don't tell me my son is one of those queers, like Jeff LaRue." Killer shot back at his dad, "Her name is Caroline." Rhonda gasped, she knew her son was up to no good. His mission in life was to disrupt and be a pain to anyone and everyone. Rhonda had great empathy for Jeff. That boy who was now a girl, was Edward's best friend back in grade school. Still, she did not want her son to wear a dress. What would people think? Instead of answering the question, the lady who was worried about keeping up appearances said, "I wonder how Caroline's mother is handling all the whispers about her daughter." Killer could not believe his mom was concerned about what small-minded people said about matters which did not concern them. His mom used to never be that way, he could never figure out what made her so petty. It was Rhonda's way to forget about the major issues in hers and her family lives right now. Killer said, "Yeah, Mom." Ms. LaRue could be living the dream with her son being rumored as the biggest weed dealer in school and her daughter getting pregnant before she was legally allowed to drive. Robert did not like his son talking to his wife in that manner, but was too drained to do anything about it. He used all the energy which was allotted to him today at the interview this morning. It was to be had a design engineer at the new farm machinery plant which was opening up in a couple of months. He would say something tomorrow. The Kilroys knew their son sold drugs, but did not care as long as he did not get busted. How confident their son was told them the aspiring Scarface had an ace up his sleeve. He would be out of the house soon and that would be his problem. They had so much more to worry about than that. Plus he has been helping around the house to make ends meet. Aaron said, "Hey bro, I will help you shop for a dress, it would get me out of the house. Maybe we can get a slice of pizza at the food court also." Like old times, Killer felt a warm fuzzy feeling when he heard his sis call him bro and mention the food court. It took his mind to simpler times, when him and his sister were as thick as peanut butter. They would spend the weekend together along with their best friends, Jeff LaRue and Becky Adams. Jeff started to drift from Edward when he started to become Killer, and Aaron lost the connection with Becky when the Adams family relocated after the factory closed down. Those days of innocence were lost when the gang was no more, and also Edward died and Killer was born. Killer was not a loner but kept to himself. He would associate with the hippies, burnouts, and the dangerous crowd, for they were his customers. Plus those people were true to themselves. He gave them credit for not selling out, yet he also knew one day those people would put something insignificant in front of their principles. Their friendship was a limited engagement. After driving down Sentimental Street, Killer said, "Fine, let's go sis, and there is no maybe we will get a slice of pizza for old times." For the first time in months, the downtrodden wife and mother felt a tinge of true happiness. Her kids were getting along again. Killer's old man also felt good. That interview went well today and they were in a time of peace during his reign of dolefulness. He made a joke, "Son, at least get something classy to wear." On the way to the mall, little sis was straightforward with her brother. She was hoping that he would open up to her, for she so wanted to be able to open up to him again. Aaron inquired, "What are you up to? I know you have changed, but why mock Caroline? She used to be your friend." Big Bro was hurt by the question. He knew he was a different person than Edward, but still he was not cruel. He was mean, vindictive, and cold towards those he felt slighted him, but cruel no. Killer, with a little anger in his voice, said, "I would never hurt any of those I love. I am doing this to show solidarity with Caroline." It was true, the fed-up man had enough and was not going to just stand idly while someone he loved and cared for was put down. Today was the last straw when people voted Caroline as one of the finalists for prom queen. Caroline was not going to the prom, for there was not a brave soul who wanted to conform and be at that function who would escort her. Killer overheard Ryan Shar, one of the cool kids, when he said how he loved to fuck with deviants in dresses. The rest of the crew laughed and put down Caroline. That sparked an idea in his head. Killer was going to put on a dress and challenge that punk to keep his word. The fighter knew that the blowhard would back down. When Killer made that guy look like a fool, might also lead to people coming to their senses and just leave Caroline alone. Aaron quickly tried to make amends for thinking the worst of her. "Big Bro, sorry, that is just out of character for you." "I think that is sweet of you, Big Bro." When Big Bro heard being called what he should be to his little sis, he lost his anger. With a smile in his voice, the man who started to feel a little happy. "Sis, you were right in asking that question. I am usually up to no good. While for an old friend I am not. I do give you, along with Mom and Dad, a hard time, but it is for I love you all. All three of you are all making so many mistakes it drives me crazy. You still will not press the father of your son to do what is right when you have my nephew." The good vibes were leaving the car. Aaron wanted to, but the defeated girl did not see a reason to try. She would lose in the end. Things just do not work out for her, so why should she do anything? The worst part is she knew he should have to pay for her son. Meekly the girl, with the heart of a mouse, said, "I want to, but it is not worth my time." He would get away with paying nothing. Her protective older brother was ready to tell her why with a rightful rage in his voice. Instead, the kind supportive voice of Edward came out when he said, "Little sis, it is best to do the right thing and fail than know nothing. Do it for your pride and dignity. I will be there to support you if you take the first step." Erin's heart went from the size of a mouse's to one of a lion's. She got her phone out and called that boy's parents to inform them that they were going to be grandparents. The mom-to-be did the right thing and set up a meeting with her family and his to discuss the boy, would thought having sex proved he was a man, doing the right thing. At the mall, Erin took Killer into New Army. She figured he would not want anything flashy. He was wearing a dress to make a point, to stay true to himself and to be there for a friend. Killer saw a nice dress and asked his sister to help him find his size. Her confidence went up when she found out she was right about Killer's taste in clothes. It was a simple purple tunic dress. The fashion maven told her brother that he would need to wear leggings with them also. Killer went along for how his little sis said it was just a statement of a fact. He was going to do this right. Killer wanted to make sure that everyone knew he was not being a bully towards the damsel in distress. Erin got a pair of black leggings and then started to walk up to the cash register when Killer said, "Hold up, I need to try it on." Erin stopped in her tracks and said, "Trust me, it will fit you. A tunic dress is loose-fitting, so you have no need to worry." Killer said, "Sis, I do trust you. I just want to make sure I am comfortable in it. I am going to be defending a friend, but I will not be uncomfortable while doing so." Erin said fine. Killer went into a changing stall. Erin was not prepared for how fast the door reopened. Killer came out of the stall in the dress. She wanted to laugh and Killer knew it, so to put her at ease he did. Erin forgot that Eddie was long gone and said, "Eddie, quit that, it is not funny. You should be able to wear a dress if you want." Killer forgot that he was not Eddie anymore, said, "Sis, it is fine to laugh. I know I look like I am not in my skin. We are not laughing at me in a dress, it is at how I am a fish out of water right now." After Erin laughed, Killer started to laugh again and he was relaxed. He walked toward the mirrors with pride and confidence. He knew he had to be sure of himself tomorrow when he was in his outfit. He needed that punk to know he meant business, and also he did not want to hurt Caroline by accident. Killer changed back his clothes and personality, and before they went to buy his new dress, he asked his sister if she wanted to look at some maternity clothes. He could tell that Erin did not like the idea of drug money buying her clothes and reminded her he also had a legit after-school job as an airplane mechanic apprentice program. The wheeler dealer was not going to sell weed his entire life. As soon as his family turned it around and he had a full-time job, he was going to quit dope pushing. He needed to do what he could to help his family survive this time of troubles they were in. Erin full-heartedly said, "Yes." After picking out a couple of outfits, Killer made the purchases and they walked towards the food court. Killer was so looking forward to just sitting there with what was left of his gang of friends and go back to the old times. Just people watch and laugh. Before they arrived at the pizza joint, they saw a tall lady standing outside of a storefront which was still under remodeling. Erin mentioned her dream job of being a beautician when she saw the name of the shop, Sassy Sally's Spa and Salon. The lady, inspecting the work being done on her shop, butted into their private conversation. "Dear, I am always looking to help any girl who needs it. We can train you on the job, in fact I want to. For I want the girls who work at my salons to not only be highly trained in their craft, I also want to make sure they know the Sally way of doing things. I got a good feeling about you, so when you are ready to follow your dreams, give me a call. Aaron was grateful that this stranger made such a kind and genuine offer. They exchanged numbers and Aaron and Killer was on their way to break bread together. As the two siblings walked away, Sally thought that girl might not be like the rest of the girls she helped, but her new student was still needed the special confidence-boosting help Sally gave. Sally was going to make sure that her new friend was going to believe in herself and have a good life. Sally called Aaron to reinforce the fact that she was serious about the offer and to let her future employee know she had a mentor if she so wanted one. After she received the call, Erin's posture was a little straighter, her strides were a little longer, and the smile on her face was a little bigger. When Killer was informed what the call was about, the pessimist man thought that woman might be able to help Erin be who she used to be. While eating their slices of pizza, Aaron and Killer talked about how it went wrong for them and, to both of their surprises, how they were planning on making it better. Aaron admitted it was a mistake to try to be in the popular group. She thought that if her social life was going better, it would fix the other issues. Then she talked about how much she was looking forward to contacting Sally. Killer talked about how he should lighten up on himself and others. Little sister wanted to lighten up the conversation, so she asked, "Hey big bro, how far are you going with the outfit?" Killer has not given it any real thought, it was a spare-of-the-moment plan. The desired results was to get into a verbal confrontation with Ryan not to dress like a female. He said, "I do not know. I do want to be come off as one dressed like I am putting Caroline down, so I was just going with the dress, but I think I need more." Being underdressed or overdressed would be mocking her. "How about you tell me how far I should go?" Aaron agreed to do so. The style consultant told her first client she thought that shoes, a little makeup, a padded bra and panties and a purse is all he needed to don an outfit which was just right. She held her breath, for Killer could be a little volatile and turn on a dime on anyone. Killer thought of it and said, "Fine, if you don't mind I will borrow a purse from you. Now let us go get me some makeup, underwear and shoes." Aaron said, "Eddie, sorry, I meant Killer. No need for makeup, we will use mine, I will even apply it for you. It would be fun. Just like you let me do to you when we were young." A little of Eddie broke through the Killer mask and he blushed some. Killer has not blushed in years. His heart has grown cold and he no longer had any difficulty dealing with what others would think of him. It felt good to Killer to be a little embarrassed. Killer said, "Lil sis, you can call me Eddie once in a while as long as I can call you Doodlebug once in a while. After we eat, let us go shop some more." Aaron, feeling brave, said, "Now off to Victoria's Secret." Killer laughed and said, "No, it is just going to be plain white cotton panties and a padded bra." They went to the shoe store and Killer was as lost as vegan in a steakhouse. He had no idea what he was looking for. Aaron took over and said, "Don't worry big bro, Doodlebug is here to help you." She found a pair of women's Roman sandals which she knew would go great with the outfit. Killer tried on the shoes and they fit, so he was going to go with them. He looked at his toenails and thought out loud, "Should I paint my toe and fingernails?" Aaron said, "It would be a nice touch, but it was not needed. Don't worry about it." Killer was having a good time reconnecting with his sister and got an idea. They could get a pedicure together and she could also get a manicure. Killer stole a smile from Eddie and said, "We will get a pedicure together, and while you will get a manicure I will go check out the bookshop." Aaron said, "Really?" Killer said, "Yeah. Really. I am in a good mood spending time with my little sister and I do not want it to stop. Who knows if we'll ever get along this good again. I want another good memory of time spent with Doodlebug." Those two had a great time just chatting and laughing while getting their feet worked on. Killer almost totally forgot who he was and was getting a good outlook on life. Erin almost forgot that she started to be an adult before her time. After they were done, Killer admitted to Erin that treat was so good he would get another pedicure without the nail polish. Erin said they could do it at home together, and Killer said, "No, we will do it at that Sally place. When it opens, I want to support your future employer." The next morning, Killer and Erin woke up early and got him ready to go to school. The good time, vibes, and conversation from yesterday carried over. Killer was impressed with the job that Erin did and told her she should be a makeup artist. Erin giggled and said that was part of being a beautician. They went downstairs and could not believe what they saw. Their dad was not in his royal outfit of a jumpsuit, but dress slacks, button-down shirt and a tie. He also had breakfast just about done. He said to Killer, "Eddie, I am proud of you for what you are doing today. It takes a lot of courage to stand up for someone who is on the outside and mistreated like Caroline. Now you two sit down. From now on we are going to have a proper breakfast to start our day." As they sat at the table, their mother came walking in the door. She stopped to make sure she was in the right house when she saw her husband dressed for a change and smell breakfast in the air. She will find out what was going on later when Killer left for school and Erin started her coursework. In a tone which told anyone who heard it she meant business, said, "Edward Jonathan Kilroy, you will stop selling weed or you will leave this house. I do not want you to end up in jail. You look nice, by the way." Killer respectfully said, "Yes, Mom, I will get rid of it today. I was planning to quit selling right after graduation anyway." "Thank you, Mom." Rhoda then turned her attention to her daughter. "You, Erin, are going to call that boy's parents and get them to help you make him support his child you are having. I love you and I am not going to allow you to let that boy get away with leaving you dry. He has a responsibility to my grandson also." Erin told her mom it was already done and asked her parents if this Friday was good as the tentative day for the meeting. Killer backed up the story. Rhoda did not know what to think. She was ready to lay down the law on her entire family to finally straighten them out. It seemed like they did it to themselves. She was still going to have a talk with her husband. With how he was today, it was going to do a lot smoother than she thought. Killer walked into the mall entrance of his school. A couple of people laughed. Killer did not care about those putzes. He was going straight for Ryan Shar. Ryan had a puzzled look on his face as Killer approached him. Killer went up to him and in a raised voice so all around could hear him said, "Hey there, Ryan, you like to make fun of deviants in dresses, well here is one right here in front of you. Go ahead, hit me with your best shot. Put me down right to my face, or are you not man enough to back up your word?" Ryan, trying to play off himself backing down, said, "Killer, you are hilarious," trying to show Jeff how to stand up for himself and knowing he would not. "Good one." Killer said, "First her name is Caroline, say it." Ryan remained silent. Killer got right into Ryan's face and lowered the octave of his voice when he said, "Say her name." Ryan, still trying to save face, said, "Okay, Killer, you are trying to show Caroline how to stand up for herself knowing she would not." Good one. Ryan backed away and Killer took a step to stay the punk's face. "You are wrong. I am showing everyone here what kind of person you are. A person who depends on picking on those weaker than him for they are not as popular as you are. You are not so tough when someone who you know will resort in using your face to clean the floor is your victim. You talk a good game, but can't back it up. Now I never want to hear you say another bad word about Caroline again. You have a problem with her, you have a problem with me. By the way, you are not being a gentleman by picking on a lady and I want to make sure you stay classy." Killer turned his back to Ryan, to add insult to injury, and said, "That goes for all of you. You have a problem with Caroline, you have a problem with me. I know I am not the biggest badass in this school. I do know I have a lot of fight and anger in me and am looking for a way to release it. Killer walked away hoping that his message was heard loud and clear when Amy Lucas, one of Caroline's friends, came up to him. Killer smiled, for he knew she was going to tell him great job. Amy did no such thing. She reprimanded him for playing such a cruel and insensitive joke on someone who used to be his friend. Killer told her it was a joke. Why would she even think that? Killer was not known for his sense of humor. After a couple of minutes, Amy believed him and told the man who defended her friend's honor that Caroline went running into the school and it is a safe bet you can find her in the balcony of the auditorium. Killer timidly walked into the auditorium and asked in a soft voice, "Caroline, can we please talk?" Caroline had enough. She thought that she could handle the people mocking and teasing her, and she could for the most part. She could not handle Edward doing so. The hurt lady would never call her friend Killer. Killer was not who he was. Killer was an act, for Edward was so disappointed and disillusioned by life. At least that's what she thought of him until he hurt her today. Caroline walked up to him and slapped him right in his face. The pissed-off lady did not care if Edward was not her friend anymore and would hit her back. She was making her stand the only way she knew how at that moment. Then she said, "I never thought you would do such a thing to me. Edward, we were friends. Doesn't all those good times we had mean anything to your black heart?" Killer said, "Yeah, I deserve that, but not for the reason you think so." Caroline said, "It is for the reason I think so. You mean it is for a reason I would not believe unless I saw it." She went to slap him again and Killer caught her wrist. Killer said, "Listen and quit hitting me. I think one slap was enough for me not thinking how to stand up for my friend in the right manner." Caroline asked what. She knew Edward enough that he would admit to what he did. Killer went on to tell Caroline this, "Caroline, I am sorry. I just could not take those people putting you down anymore, and when I heard Shar say about how he liked to demean deviants in dresses, it gave me a stupid idea. I should have stood up for you a long time ago. We drifted apart and I became who I am now. I just did not know how I became Killer. I am happy that I stood up for you, but I understand why it hurt you so bad. I see why you took it that way, and I should have never have done it how I did. I love you, Caroline, and would never hurt you." Caroline said, "I love you also, Edward. You will be dear to me, for our friendship gave me the strength to see who I was when I was young." At that moment, Edward took off his killer mask and said, "Caroline, I love you." Caroline did not know what Edward was hinting at and said, "I know, Edward, I love you also." Then it dawned on her the type of love her suitor was talking about, and she said, "Oh." Edward tried his best to ask Caroline out and fumbled his way in doing so when he said, "I did not mean to tell you right now. I should not had. I am not the man for you. You should have the best man in the world. We drifted apart when I decided that I wanted to burn down the world. I know why, for you knew I was better than that rage in me. Watching you become this wonderful woman in front of me makes me sick of myself. I should be a better person. I do not know what I am trying to say other than I care for you so much and always want the best for you." Caroline knew that the old Edward was coming back from the dead. That killer person she could never give a chance to, while Edward she always wanted to see if there was chemistry between them. That was why she called him Edward instead of Eddie, to try to be a little impersonal while thinking of him. Caroline smiled and said, "Oh, shut up and kiss me, you fool. Then we will talk about you taking me to the prom. I might be the prom queen and I deserve you, the best king I could have, at my side."